Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. Hari Om. So we saw, I think we saw till 4th, verse 4. Today let's look at verse 5. Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvatto jāyate. Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvatto jāyate. Sarvaṃ. A chant பண்ண முடியுமா யாராவது? Gayatri, possible to chant?
Yes, sir. Sarvam jagadidam tvatto jāyate. Sarvam jagadidam tvattastiṣṭhati. Sarvam jagadidam tvayi layameṣyati. Sarvam jagadidam tvayi pratyeti. Tvaṃ bhūmirāpo'nalo'nilo nabhaḥ. Tvaṃ catvāri vākpadāni.
Very nice. Beautiful chant பண்ண. Raghu, you want to chant once?
Yeah. Sarvaṃ jagadidam tvatto jāyate. Sarvaṃ jagadidam tvattastiṣṭhati. Sarvaṃ jagadidam tvayi layameṣyati. Sarvaṃ jagadidam tvayi pratyeti. Tvaṃ bhūmirāpo'nalo'nilo nabhaḥ. Tvaṃ catvāri vākpadāni.
Super. Very nice. Thank you. Sarvam jagadidam tvatto jāyate. Sarvam jagadidam. Sarvam. So the whole this thing, this particular shloka, the first 2 words are sarvam jagadidam. 3 words. Sarvam jagat idam. All this world that is here, all that you consider as this world that is here, is a tvatto jāyate, tvattastiṣṭhati, tvayi layameṣyati, tvayi pratyeti, which means it is born from you, it rests or resides in you, and sustained by you, it dissolves in you, and it is withdrawn into you, or it is drawn towards you. Pratyeti. Pratyeti, it goes towards you, it moves towards you. So so these 4, just looking at the first four, sarvam jagadidam tvatto jāyate, tvattastiṣṭhati, tvayi layameṣyati, tvayi pratyeti. The first 4, the first 3 we have seen before also, right? Where in the earlier verses he says, tvaṃ. In verse 2, no, the word kartasi dhartasi.
Verse 1.
Yeah, the first one. Correct. Kartasi dhartasi hartasi. Correct. This is where you see. Means the same, right? Where you are the karta, you are the dharta, and you are the harta. And it means similar here. Tvatto jāyate. From you it is born. So there, kartasi means you are the creator. So there is an active process of creation that is happening there. So you are the creator. You are the dharta. You are the sustainer. You are the harta. You are the one who is destroying. Here it is presented slightly differently. Sarvam jagat idam tvatto jāyate, tvattah jāyate. It is born out of you. So there is no active involvement of an agent creating it, creation happens. Okay. Same thing is tvattastiṣṭhati. In you, it resides. Tishtati in Sanskritam is to stay. Stay or stand or be in one place, tishtati. So in you, it resides. The third one is tvayi layameṣyati. In you itself, it dissolves. And tvayi pratyeti. It keeps constantly moving in your direction. This whole creation keeps moving in your direction. It is drawn towards you. So you'll see the difference between this. We are able to recognize the difference. Here, verse 1, we are saying, Tvameva kevalam kartasi. You are the creator. Tvameva kevalam dhartasi. You are the sustainer. Tvameva kevalam hartasi. You are the destroyer. So there is a clear agent of action. So it is this principle taking active engagement in creation, sustenance, and destruction. It is doing it like a profession. Creation, sustenance, and destruction. But here, it is presented differently. Here, there is no actor. The events are happening. Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvattaha jāyate. It is born, it is sustained, it dissolves within you. So why am I calling this difference out? Because Ganaka Rishi is showing this difference. we can think it is the same thing. He is just repeating the same thing. You are the creator means it is born from you. But that difference there is, there the agent of action is Ganesha, or this principle is the agent of action. Now, when we see how this principle, the definition of the principle Brahman is that principle which does not act, which doesn't do anything. But when it needs to act, the principle that comes into existence is called Ishvara. So Brahman, and it said Brahman, the power of Brahman is Maya. Brahman plus Maya Shakti equals Ishvara, which means the power of Brahman to engage in activity is Ishvara. But Brahman itself does not engage in any activity. Activity happens in its presence. So as Ishvara, like for example, we said this example in the school. For example, you think about the principal in the school, or usually the head of an institution, usually doesn't do anything, but he will engage people to do activities. So the activities are done by agencies, while the principal, all he does is governs and observes, right? So you'll have a headmaster, you'll have for department heads, you'll have somebody who manages the department heads and things like that. And the principal or the vice chancellor, whoever is there, all he will do is only govern the proceedings that is happening there. So the activities happen in his presence, but he himself is not so much of an actor. The position that he holds as this, say, the vice chancellor, or even in the constitution, you'll see the president has very little to act. A lot of times you notice, at least in the judicial system of India, the president only goes, visits places and takes photographs, right? Most of the times the action is by the prime minister and the cabinet. But can you, because of that, can we say that why do we need the president?
Supreme Commander.
He is the supreme commander. So he is the commander of all the forces, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army. He is the supreme commander. So he really doesn't actually, but if there is something that needs to be done and something needs to be acted upon, it's the prime minister who takes a call, makes a decision. He'll probably go to the president and get his endorsement, but the actual work is all done by this guy. All he will give is endorsement saying, okay, go ahead. So the action that is happening is by the prime minister and the cabinet, but it is happening in the presence of the president. You cannot have a president, you cannot have that seat vacant for long. You need to have somebody in that position, because that position is what is important here, not so much of the person. In a system, in an order, in dharma, in an orderly system, that position has that importance. So in the same way, all of this activity in the form of Ishvara, Ganesha in the form of Ishvara, is acting out. Karta, Dharta, Harta. But as Brahman, in that position, all he does is, he is an observer. He himself is an observer of all that is happening. Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvattaha jāyate. It is born out of you, Ganesha. It resides within you and it gets dissolved within you. Do you do anything about it? You don't do anything about it. You've kind of set it into motion, and the whole thing is happening in your presence. Tvayi pratyeti. In you, it is drawn towards you, which means it's constantly getting drawn towards you. It's like when there is rain, it falls into the rivers or ponds or lakes. The water from the pond, lake, and this thing flows into the river. The water of the lake, the water of the river gets drawn into the sea. That is where it eventually goes and joins, merges naturally. And the waters of the sea goes and merges into the ocean. It just gets drawn. Right? So this draw that is there, it is a natural occurrence. Again, this is also dharma. This is also ritam. The natural order of things is to get drawn in the direction of the larger. The small usually gets drawn into the large, big. So the lakes get drawn into the rivers, the rivulets gets drawn into the river, it joins into the river. When the river keeps flowing, the river eventually goes and joins into the sea, and the sea then expands into the ocean. So in the same way, all that is there in this world gets drawn towards you. Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvayi pratyeti. It gets towards you, it gets drawn. And that is the natural state of things. When it doesn't go in that direction is because of resistance. The only reason why the water from the river will not be able to join into the ocean is when we build a dam. Right? When we build an obstruction, we build a resistance. That is when, otherwise, what is the natural flow of things? The natural flow of things is for it to go and merge into the sea. So even within us, the natural flow is to go and merge into consciousness, merge into the merge into that presence that is there. Whatever that is presence, whatever that presence is, our individual merging into the Virata Purusha. That merger can happen through devotion, can happen through dhyanam, can happen through yoga. Yoga means union. Yogaha, the word yogaha means union. What is union of what? Union of the individual and the supreme, the cosmic, the universal, the particular individual and the cosmic. That merger is yogaha. So that draw that is there, it is natural. It is a natural state of our being. If you let yourself be in the natural state of things, we will get drawn to spirituality. Everybody wants to grow spiritually, naturally. We want to move away from the physical into the spiritual. It's a very beautiful saying of Ramana, Swami Ramana Maharshi I saw the other day. He said, if you were given the he's saying, if you were given, or if all the sufferings of the body was removed, if you were made unconscious of the sufferings of the body, you will naturally want to be established in yourself. It is because of the body that we keep doing whatever we are doing, whether we don't want pain in the body. So hence we try to give it luxury and comfort and joy, because we are unable to deal with suffering in the body. So he says, if this was taken care of, somebody says, taken care of it, I'll take care of it, don't have to worry about it. He says the mind or the natural state of things would be just to be established within oneself, not to hanker for things. The hankering occurs is because there is a lot of, in fact, if we notice, a huge amount of desires rise from the body. Either we want to keep it well, we want to keep it away from pain, or we want to experience the joy and pleasures of it. So that is where we are drawn outwards. The draw is outwards because the attention is to the body. If the attention slowly we recede from the body, we move the attention away from the body slowly. I'm saying it doesn't mean that we don't have to take care of the body, but not overdoing, not having just the attention on the activities of the body all the time. Rather, we try to withdraw that little by little, and we experience that withdrawal a little by little. We will notice the natural draw is to go into samadhi. The natural state is samadhi. To be in a state of peace is our natural state. To be in a state of no conflict is our natural state. Conflict, aggression, agitation is our creation. We hold things on the outside as responsible for it. We hold it. Because of these things have happened, I have become agitated. But if you sit and think about it, agitation is occurring within us. It is not occurring in the object that is outside. It is occurring within me. So anything that is occurring within me, isn't it my responsibility? And shouldn't I be in full control of it? In absolute control, right? Now, why is that not occurring? because we are not paying attention to this draw. In fact, a lot of times, the biggest worry that we have is our own dissolution. We don't want to dissolve. Although, like yesterday we were discussing, every night we go to sleep, we want to drop our existence. We want to drop our individuality. We want to drop and we want to go into sleep. We want to do that because we are not able to bear ourselves. For more than 12 hours, we can't bear 12, more than 16, 18 hours, we can't bear ourselves. This individual, it becomes a burden. See, think about it. Why do we have to sleep? Because this individual that we carry becomes a burden. And we have to drop this individual at night. And dropping this individual is required for us to rejuvenate, refresh, and become whole again. Because during the whole day, we become so fragmented. We become so fragmented that I'm paying attention to this, I'm paying attention to that, I'm paying attention to this. I am completely drawn outwards. So this draw outwards exhausts me. It drains me out. And drains me out so much that this personality that I'm holding as this individual personality, this aham that I'm holding, we want to drop it and go into sleep. Correct? When we go into deep sleep, this aham is not there. And we are so blissful. We are so happy that I am not there. Correct? We are actually very happy that I am not there. But once we get up, we are worried, I am not here, I am not there. What in the FOMO, there is a term called FOMO these days, fear of missing out. People want to be in the Instagram all the time because they worry if they miss out something. This FOMO, fear of missing out, is there because I need to be there everywhere. I want this I to be everywhere. Because if somebody comes and asks, oh, don't you know this? Oh, didn't you know that India won against Sri Lanka? அப்படின்னு கேட்டா மேட்ச்ல இல்லையப்பா நான் மேட்ச் பாக்குறது இல்ல. மேட்ச் பாக்குறது இல்லையா அப்படின்னு ஒரு லுக் விடும். மகா தப்பு பண்ண மாதிரி. வேற என்னதான் வாழ்க்கையில நீ உருப்படியா பண்றங்கிற ஒரு ஃபீலிங் வந்துடும் நமக்கு. ஒரு கிரிக்கெட் மேட்ச் பார்க்கல.
திருப்பி சொல்லிடணும், மேட்ச் எல்லாம் பாக்குற அப்படின்னு கேட்கணும்.
ஆமா. So this is where bouncer போடணும். ஆமா, bouncer.
திருப்பி bouncer போடணும்.
Correct. So this is the state of affairs, right? And then there is this fear of missing out. Oh, what did I miss out? Somebody asks, is it okay for me to appear dumb and I don't know? So in this state of waking, I won't say awakening, of waking state, we want to be on the know-how of everything. We find it uncomfortable to say, I don't know. So this draw, the natural draw, pratyeti, the natural draw is to go into that state within ourselves where this individual is not operating all the time. The ocean, the ocean of bliss, as they call it, the ocean, the samudra, the sagara, which is there within, we dissolve into that. And that is a natural flow. Just that we don't pay attention. We want to go into sleep, but we don't want to sit and do dhyana. Actually, if we are able to train ourselves to do dhyana, then you will realize slowly that the desperate need for sleep won't be there. Right? So the ability to pay attention and go inwards consciously. When we develop that consciously, we develop that. We will realize that is my natural flow. That is, naturally, my consciousness wants to go inwards. It wants to go outwards because of the body, nature of the body it is. But then it gets tired. It gets exhausted. It wants to naturally go inwards. So he is sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvayi pratyeti. It is drawn towards you, O Ganesha. Ganesha here means the self, Atma, Paramatma, Jivatma, whatever we want to call it. It is that Satchidananda Swarupa, that stillness that is within me. It wants to go into that state of stillness. Actually, if you notice, even in creation, the natural state of things is to be still. If you throw a pebble in water, it creates a ripple for a period of time. But does it keep going indefinitely? It doesn't. It goes back to stillness. And then you throw another stone, another ripple, another set of ripples will get created. We are so excited by the ripples, we miss out on the stillness. எத்தனை நேரம் தான் சும்மா உட்காந்துருக்கிறது. So என்னன்னா, this சும்மா உட்கார்றது is very important to develop as a capability. It is our natural state, no doubt. But now we don't recognize it as a natural state. We think it as a state of dullness, as tamas. Because what we're doing is physically maybe we are in one place, but the mind is all over. Right? And the mind is settling down in one place. And then we observe that stillness. That is the natural state. So what we need to do is, this shumma irukkiradhu is something that we need to develop while we are in activity. So if I'm doing some work, is it possible to go and visit that stillness within me while I'm doing the work? See, we don't realize there are a lot of times we are by ourselves, There are a lot of periods of time in the day when you are by yourself. How much ever a busy person you are. You take shower, you brush your teeth, you go to toilet. These are places you don't have 5 people standing with you, right? Unless you are living in a chawl or a Chennai mansion. When I came first to Chennai, I used to work there, mansion. So you'll have a public toilet. People will be queuing up. Common bathroom, common toilet. But for most people now, we have the privilege and blessing of having our own private spaces. Right? Now, the point is, in these private spaces, when we do get private time. And of course, we are much more privileged. We get our own time to sit at the altar, pray, go to the temple, all of that. We get our private time. What do we do at the private time is the point. We should use this time to go to look at the draw. Where is my mind getting drawn? My mind is constantly running around. I get my private time. A family might say, go take a break, relax, do what you want to do. But then when we go, we are thinking about the family from there. All the time we are busy thinking about the family. Or we are thinking about work, or we are thinking about something. So unfortunately, we've not trained our minds to be in a place where we want it to be in. We've not trained it. it will go 100 different places. Wherever you physically go, doesn't matter. So what is the training here? Sarvaṃ jagadidaṃ tvayi pratyeti. Everything is getting drawn towards you, towards tvayi is not something outside. It's getting drawn towards the stillness within me. Let me observe that stillness. That draw, when that stillness is where everything is going, aren't we interested to know what that stillness is, where everything is going? Am I not interested to know what is this peaceful feeling that is there when I sleep? It is within me only, right? Nobody is coming and putting night வந்து யாராவது இன்ஜெக்ஷன் போட்டு இந்த பீஸ் இன்ஜெக்ஷன் அப்படின்னு போட்டு போறாளன்னு. Nothing of that sort happens, right? Actually, these injections that are given for sleeping, the sleeping pills that we take is nothing but to completely shut your mind. The problem is we have become so tuned to making the mind work so much that now we have lost control over it absolutely. And so you need external agencies to control this thing. It's a very sad state, right? Because we have not trained our mind, we have not trained ourselves to be able to manage the mind. We've never trained. School length, we have never been taught this. Even at home, parents don't teach this. Parents only teach us in the morning you go, sit at the altar, do Vishnu Sahasranamam, and then go to school. Or come when Appa is doing Aarti, you come and sit and do Aarti and go. That is all. That's all we are taught. Even after we are given Upanayanam, Brahmopadesam, we are only taught to hold your punal and do Gayatri, do some Argyam. That is all. We are never taught to manage our mind. We are taught ways to distract our minds from going into different places and bringing it to one place. But we have not actively taken any lessons or any training in managing the mind. So a lot of people now, even now when you do Sandhya Vandanam, for instance, the people are doing Sandhya Vandanam thinking of 20 other things. How I quickly finish this Sandhya Vandanam and go to the thing that I'm thinking about. So that is where these things become a ritual. And when it becomes a physical ritual, then it loses that import on you. So the important thing is the stillness that we recognize. It is important, our business, to train our mind to go and visit that stillness, because it is within me, it is joyful, it is blissful, and I experience it, and I love it. Yes, tell me, anybody, ask anybody in this world, நிம்மதியா இருக்கிறது உனக்கு பிடிக்கலையான்னு கேட்டு பாருங்க. Ask anybody in this world. And I doubt if they will say that, no, I want to be agitated all the time. It's not possible. You can't be agitated all the time. Physically, mentally, you will drain. Why? Because the natural state is to be still. Okay? Tvayi pratyeti. Tvaṃ bhūmirāpo'nalo'nilo. Analaha. Bhūmihi, you are bhūmihi. Apaha. Analaha. Anilaha. You are the earth, you are the water, you are the fire, you are the air, and you are nabhaḥ, space, which means you are the pancha mahabhutas. You are the 5 elements within me. These are the 5 elements of which we are made. Our gross body, our subtle body, our causal body, all made of these 5 elements. The gross body and the subtle, importantly, not so much the causal, but the gross body is made up of these 5 elements, and you are in all of that. You are that. Tvaṃ bhūmihi āpaha analaha anilaha nabhaḥ. What are these 5? All of these 5 elements operate in different compositions within our body. We are about 60-70% water. Apaha. Then we are a certain percentage of earth, we are a certain percentage of air, we are a certain percentage of fire, and a certain percentage of space. All of these five in certain combination is me. Now, can I tell when I say that I don't want to be drawn by the body, I want to go inwards and I want to be in samadhi? I can't ignore the body, right, at the same time. Because what pulls you out? If you go into samadhi, or if you're sitting in dhyana, what is pulling you out? Your leg will become numb. முட்டி வலிக்கும், கால் குறுகுறுங்கும், முதுகு வலிக்கும், your back will pain, your buttocks will ache. So what is happening? The body, the pancha mahabhutas, bhūmi, āpaha, anilaha, analaha, nabhaḥ, all of this, the body that's made of all of this, it will start showing its presence. So you have to ensure that you be respected and also take care of it. Because if you don't, then obviously you will not be able to be in that the state of absorption within. Because this is what now imagine if the sensation of these parts of your body is not there, it will possibly be much more easier for you to go into dhyana. Correct. It will possibly be much more easier. So you are, O Ganesha, tvaṃ bhūmihi āpaha analaha anilaha nabhaḥ. You are all of this, and be in all of this so that these don't become an obstacle for me in my recognition of that stillness that I am. Let these not be an obstacle in the recognition of that stillness within me. At the same time, you're also saying the outside. So tapatraya, when we talk about tapatraya, there are three types of obstacles. Adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika. So adi bhautika obstacles are on the outside. The bhūmi, āpaha, anilaha, analaha, space, all of this, they can cause disturbance in the form of your body. Adi bhautika. Adi daivika, from the external, the same earth, air, water, fire, space, they can cause disturbance from the outside as these gross elements on the outside. Adi daivika. Tremendous rain, floods, hurricane, sandstorm. There are obstacles that can come from the outside. And then adhyatmika, your own mind. Your mind creates these things, right? Your mind creates earth, water, air, fire, space. Your mind creates these elements in the subtle form. How? Because it creates people, it creates events, it creates imaginations. The mind is constantly creating all of these things. So in the subtle form also, these elements are constantly operating. Thoughts have a form. So at all these levels, adi daivika, adhyatmika, adi bhautika, all these three obstacles can occur in these elements, elemental forms, at all these levels. So you're praying that you be there in all of this and don't be an obstacle, so that I am able to go into laya, into samadhi, into that stillness, and recognize that stillness always there during the activity. So once I am able to touch it and taste it, during activity, we'll always be able to go back to it and recognize it. Tvaṃ catvāri vākpadāni. You are the 4 types of speech. What are the 4 types of speech? para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikhari. This is there in Lalita Sahasranam also. Who remembers that shloka? Lalita Sahasranam.
Para pratyeti rupa pashyanti paradevata.
அப்புறம் சொல்லுங்க.
மத்தியமா மத்தியமா வைக்கரி
ரூபா பக்தி மானச ஹம்சிகா.
பக்த மானச ஹம்சிகா.
அதேதான். சூப்பர். So para pratyakchiti rupa pashyanti paradevata madhyama vaikhari rupa bhakta manasa hamsika. So para pashyanti madhyama vaikhari. There are 4 kinds of speech, which means 4 kinds of sounds that can be created, heard, experienced. Vaikhari is the lowest or the grossest form, which is the sound that we are able to make with the vocal cord. This is called Vaikhari. The next level of sound is called Madhyama, which is in the level of thoughts. So you can communicate using thoughts, right? If we are able to train ourselves well enough, we can communicate through thoughts. We know people do this. How do hypnotists communicate? They hypnotize somebody and then they use words, but they also communicate. There's a certain subtler level of communication through which they send messages to the person they're hypnotizing. So using the mind, you can communicate. Your thoughts. Thoughts are expressions and communications. That is Madhyama. And also not just, even there are times you will feel when you're in the presence of somebody and that person is thinking or whatever about you, you will experience sometimes, maybe this person doesn't like me. Maybe this person has this kind of a thought about me. Maybe this person is jealous about me. Maybe, so that he doesn't have to say. He doesn't say, hey, how are you? I'm so jealous of you. He may not say that. But you may feel that nobody will come and say to you that I hate you. Right? Only our kids will say, but they say it out of love. But the experience that there is a certain level of communication, a subtle form of communication that occurs, right? That communication, Madhyama, it happens at the level of the mind. Vaikhari, Madhyama, then Pashyanti and Para. Pashyanti and Para are very, very subtle forms of mind process or process of sound. Pashyanti is essentially sounds that appear to very evolved minds. Like, for example, the Vedas. Vedas are Pashyanti form of sound. The word Pashyanti means that which can be seen. So the question will be, Pashya means to see. But you're talking about 4 types of sound. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. So in sound, how can you see? Pashya means to see. If you instead of Pashyanti, if you say Shruyanti, then it is acceptable. But this is not the sound that is heard by the ear. Vaikhari is the sound that you make through your vocal cords and you're able to hear. Madhyama is a subtler sounds which you are able to communicate and you're able to recognize and understand, but you don't necessarily need the ear. But Pashyanti are sounds that are there in the universe, which when you tune yourselves, your minds are tuned into much higher states of consciousness. There is an ability for one to see those sounds. See means perceive. Perceive those sounds. That is pashyanti. These are sounds that are vibrations that are existing in nature. When they say Vedic, like for example, you take the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhurbo Swaha. The Gayatri mantra, when say Vishwamitra is the mantra drashta. He is never told as mantra shrota. Correct? Rishis are not called as mantra shrotas. They are called as mantra drishtas. Although they heard the mantras, they are said to be as mantra drishtas, which means they saw the mantras, which means they were able to perceive the mantras, which is available there for perceiving. You tune yourself to a certain state of consciousness within you, receive this information. It's not heard within, it just flows within as information. A lot of people have experience of poetry, for example, right? They get suddenly imaginations and some words will flow. Some people say at night I was sleeping and this whole composition came to me in my head. So sometimes we touch upon those, unconsciously we touch upon those creative spaces where we tap into that creativity, it flows into us. So all of these mantras and sounds and Vedic sounds that we received has come as pashyanti, has come to very refined minds. And that form of sound is a subtle form of sound, very subtle form of sound. And if today also you want to access it, it's available. It is available for us to access. If we make our minds so refined, so subtle, it's possible to receive that information. And then the subtlest form of sound is para, which is not available for manifestation. It is not manifest sound. It is unmanifest sound in the most subtlest form. It's not manifest. So para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikhari. These are 4 types of sounds. Tvaṃ, catvāri, vākpadāni. You are all these 4, O Ganesha. You are in the most still form of para, unmanifest form. You are in the manifest form of pashyanti, where you are in a very refined form and available to only refined minds. Then you are in madhyama. In madhyama also you are available to minds that are a little more receiving or slightly sensitive, and you're able to perceive. And you are also in vaikhari, which means I am still very gross, still very physical. I only understand words. What I listen is what I believe. If we are there, then there also Ganesha is there in the vaikhari form. So in the vaikhari form, he is as the sound that we utter, Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunayama Devaha, Om Ganapataye Namaha. So this words that are we uttering, he is there. He is there when we are doing mananam of these words in the madhyama form. When we close and meditate, we experience these mantras or these sounds in experiential form as pashyanti, he is there. And in the para, which is beyond all of this movement or activity in the para form, there also he is there. You are there, O Ganesha, in all these forms of sound or speech. Okay. So that is the 5th verse today. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunayama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštva Gumsastanubhi Vyashema Deva Hitanyadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikaye iti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami Hari Om Tat Sat Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.